Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your friends and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news. Alright, Lions fans, buckle up because the NFL landscape is shifting yet again, and the team that you love might be at the center of some remarkable moves this offseason. Now I know what you're thinking. There's a lot of chatter about free agency, draft picks, and roster upgrades, but one story that's really catching fire involves a recent first-round pick with Pro Bowl potential, and it's connected to both the Lions and the Green Bay Packers. Yes, you heard that right. The NFC North is always a battleground, and this summer, we might see some blockbuster trades that could redefine the division. Let's back up a bit and set the stage. We're just a few weeks away from the start of training camps across the league, and for most teams, rosters are pretty much set. But that's the NFL for you. There's always room for surprises, especially when teams are looking to bolster specific positions or shake things up after evaluating their current depth charts. And one player in particular, who has been the subject of a lot of speculation lately, is Kayvon Thibodeaux, the talented edge rusher drafted 5th overall by the New York Giants in 2022. Now, Thibodeaux is a player with immense upside, a guy who can be a game changer when healthy, but there's a growing concern about his role and playing time this season. You see, the Giants have a pretty stacked edge rushing group right now. With Pro Bowler Brian Burns, who was acquired last season, and talented young players like Abdul Carter, Thibodeaux might find himself on the outside looking in when the season kicks off. And that's why some analysts, including ESPN's Aaron Schatz, believe that a trade could be in the cards. Schatz pointed out that Thibodeaux might be better off landing in a situation where he can truly flourish, and he specifically mentioned the Detroit Lions and the Green Bay Packers as prime landing spots. Imagine that for a moment. The Lions, a team that's been knocking on the door of the playoffs and even Super Bowl contention over the past couple of seasons, could use a player like Thibodeaux to strengthen their pass rush. Detroit's defensive line has been solid, but adding a young, explosive edge rusher with Pro Bowl potential could be a game changer. Think about the explosive pass rushers they already have, Aiden Hutchinson, James Houston, and how Thibodeaux' skill set could complement that group. The Lions have been building a formidable defense, and getting a player of Thibodeaux' caliber would only accelerate their growth. But it's not just about the Lions. The Green Bay Packers, a team that's been retooling after the Aaron Rodgers era, also stand to benefit immensely from acquiring a player like Thibodeaux. Green Bay has been focusing on rebuilding their defense, and with the right pieces, they could turn their defense into a real strength. Adding Thibodeaux to their rotation would give them an edge rusher who can disrupt defenses and create pressure, which is exactly what they need to take the next step in their rebuild. Now, why would these teams be interested? Well, Schatz pointed out that a trade involving Thibodeaux could net the Giants a day 2 pick, which is valuable draft capital, especially for a team looking to build for the future. The Giants, who are trying to develop their roster around young quarterback Jackson Dart and wide receiver Malik Neighbors, could see this as a smart move to add draft assets and fill other positional needs. For the Lions and Packers, acquiring a young, talented pass rusher like Thibodeaux means they're not just plugging a gap, they're adding a difference maker who can change games. And let's talk about Thibodeaux himself for a moment. When healthy, he's shown flashes of brilliance. In 2023, despite some injury setbacks, he managed to rack up an impressive 11.5 sacks, showcasing his ability to get to the quarterback and make plays in crucial moments. His athleticism, combined with his relentless motor, makes him a nightmare for offensive linemen. For the Lions, who are always seeking ways to improve their pass rush to complement Hutchinson, Thibodeaux could be the missing piece that pushes their defense to elite levels. Now, some fans might be wondering, what about the Giants? Why would they trade such a promising player? Well, the NFL is a business, and sometimes a player with high potential doesn't fit into the current team plans, especially if there are crowded positional groups. The Giants could see a trade as a way to maximize his value, especially if they believe they can get a valuable pick and still focus on building their offense for now. Plus, with the depth they have on the edge, they might be willing to part ways if the right offer comes along. But let's not forget, adding a player like Thibodeaux isn't just about raw talent. It's about fit, scheme, and future potential. The Detroit Lions, under Dan Campbell and his coaching staff, have shown that they're not afraid to take risks on young talent with upside. They've already made significant strides on defense, and bringing in Thibodeaux could be the next step in their evolution. For the Packers, it's about building a defense that can help them compete in a loaded NFC North. And speaking of the division, it's worth noting that the NFC North has become increasingly competitive. The Minnesota Vikings are always a threat, while the Chicago Bears are in the midst of a rebuild. The Lions are aiming to establish themselves as the kings of the North, and acquiring a player like Thibodeaux could be a statement move, sending a message that Detroit is serious about contending and not just participating. Now, what's especially interesting here is the timing. The NFL landscape is incredibly fluid this time of year. With training camps about to open, teams are finalizing their rosters, and trades like this could happen at any moment. The Lions have been aggressive in recent years, making savvy moves in free agency and the draft. They've already shown that they're willing to make bold decisions to improve their roster, and adding a talent like Thibodeaux could be exactly that kind of bold move. It's also a reminder that the Lions are no longer just a team trying to rebuild. They're a team with real Super Bowl aspirations. The defense, led by Hutchinson and others, is starting to take shape, but the addition of a player like Thibodeaux could take them to another level. Imagine the pressure he could generate alongside Hutchinson, forcing quarterbacks into uncomfortable throws, closing gaps, and creating turnovers. That's the kind of impact that can turn a good defense into a great one. And let's not forget the broader context. The NFL is a league where stars are made through trades, big signings, and strategic moves. The Lions have been building a culture of resilience, grit, and determination, but to truly contend, they need to keep upgrading their roster. Acquiring a young player with Pro Bowl upside like Thibodeaux fits perfectly into that vision. It's about adding talent, but also about signaling to the league and to their division rivals that Detroit is here to stay and to compete at the highest level. Now, fans, I know you're eager for updates, and this story is far from over. The NFL offseason is always full of surprises, and the potential for a blockbuster trade involving the Lions, Packers, and Thibodeaux is one of the most exciting angles right now. Keep your eyes peeled, because if something happens, it's going to send shockwaves across the league and could very well be a turning point for Detroit's Super Bowl aspirations. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Detroit Lions news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. So, what do you think, Lions fans? Is this the kind of move that could catapult your team into serious Super Bowl contention? Would Thibodeaux be the perfect fit to unleash a ferocious pass rush that leaves NFC opponents trembling? Or do you think the Giants should hold on to him and see how he develops? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below because your opinion really matters. This is an exciting time for Detroit, and every move they make could be a step closer to that long-awaited Lombardi Trophy. Remember, I'll be back soon with more updates, rumors, and insights, so stay tuned, subscribe if you haven't yet, and keep supporting your Detroit Lions. We're in this together, and the best is yet to come.